Like to call to order the September 11th meeting of the Clive City Council. Would the clerk please call roll?
Mayor Edwards,
Here.
council members Weaver,
Here.
McCoy,
Here.
Klein,
Here.
Hawker,
Here.
and I'm showing Suzanne is not here.
Very good. If you would all rise and join us in pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item, we have approval of the agenda. I'm not aware of any changes.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Our agenda is approved. Next up is citizens' presentation. This is the opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda. And if we have anyone in the council, if they would approach the podium, and Pete will check to see if there's anyone on the line who wishes to address the council.
For those participating online, you can get our attention in the council chamber using the raise hand function on your Zoom screen. At the bottom of that screen, there are a set of emojis and icons. If you click on the react emoji, the heart, you'll open up the window and you can select raise hand. Your Honor, I do not see hands going up.
Thank you, Pete. Just a reminder that we follow the pillars of character counts in everything we do, and we expect everyone here to follow those as well. Next up, we have consent items.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second on consent. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote?
Aye.
And that passes by a vote of 5-0. Next up, we'll move into our first public hearing. Did we publish the appropriate public notice?
Yes, Your Honor, we did. It was published in the Des Moines Register on August 25th, 2025.
Very good. Thank you. Jonathan.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Today I'm here to present the bids for the City Hall approach replacement. Normally I provide a map of the project location and the council packet. I figured you were all aware of the location already. As Matt discussed last council meeting, the schedule is to, in the next following meeting, immediately start construction and have the approach open back to vehicular traffic by the morning of Saturday, October 4th. There should be some remaining flat work on the site that would be complete by October 17th. But as previously iterated, October 4th is when vehicular access would be restored. On September 3rd, the city received 7 bids for the project, with Stapes Concrete being the lowest bidder. The city has not previously worked with Stapes and has reached out to Stapes to provide additional information and reiterate the need to complete the project in a timely manner. After receiving that additional information, the city has had its questions and concerns answered. Stapes Concrete generally works in the commercial projects sectors such as driveways, sidewalks, and parking lots. And had availability in their schedule to be able to complete the work based off of having an opening. Thus, you'll see their bid is noticeably lower than the other competing bids who are trying to figure out how to get additional staff power to address the project within the time scope. One of the most recent projects that Stapes worked on is at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. It had similar time constraints during the project. We reached out to the project engineer and they did not have any concerns that Staples would be able to complete the work within scope and on time. That being said, be glad to take any additional questions.
Questions for Jonathan? Eric?
Jonathan, has Stapes done, and it was a substantial difference, and we're pleased to see that. Has Stapes done any other public work?
To my knowledge, no.
Other questions? If there aren't any further comments,
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to close public hearing. Before we do, is there anyone in the chamber who wishes to address the council on this matter? Seeing none, will the council please vote, and will the clerk please post that vote? Public hearing is closed by a vote of 5-0.
Move resolution approving plans and specs.
Second.
Motion second to approve plans and specs. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? And that passes by a vote of 5-0.
Move to receive the bids.
Second.
Motion second to receive the bids. Further discussion? Seeing none, would the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? That passes by a vote of 5-0.
Move resolution awarding the contract to Stapes Concrete and Grading for $60,616.
Second.
Motion second awarding the contract. Further discussion? Seeing none, would the council please vote? And the clerk please post that vote? That passes by a vote of 5-0. Thank you, Jonathan. Amanda, before you begin, did we publish the appropriate public notice?
Yes, Your Honor, we published it in Des Moines Register on August 25th, 2025.
Thank you, Amanda.
Good evening. So tonight we have before us the public hearing and first consideration for an amendment to the zoning ordinance regarding commercial entertainment uses. Commercial entertainment uses are those that are like a recreation component that typically take up more space for what's being done in the facility. So bowling, skating rinks, the rack billiards club, those are all kind of examples of that commercial entertainment uses. And for those, they are currently allowed in all of our commercial districts and the M1, M2 districts, except for being in our C4 district. They're also currently allowed in the town center entertainment district. But this request was brought forward by one of our commercial property owners, Buyers Realty, as they had a potential lease. And when they went to verify with the ordinance that it would be allowed, it was not a permitted use. So they requested that the council and city reconsider that as a way for them to help backfill some of their junior box size locations. And what we found as we started looking into it more is a lot of the newer of these types of uses that have come into the metro recently are more of a entertainment venue than what you might have typically thought of when you were younger as a typical bowling alley. I'm including when I was younger also in that, so. But with that, staff has not had any other comments or questions related to this proposed ordinance. Planning and Zoning Commission didn't have any concerns with it, and they recommended approval.
Very good questions. Eric?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. This is exactly the right way we need to be looking at redevelopment, is being flexible, be able to pivot in our zoning ordinance right there to attract new businesses. I think this is a good thing. We're landlocked right now as Clive, and this type of redevelopment, thinking out of the box, looking at ways to rezone to attract new business. This is a good thing. So appreciate staff work on this and appreciate our friends from Buyers Realty and bringing this to our attention.
Further questions?
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
Motion is second to close public hearing. Before we do, is there anyone here who wishes to address the council on this matter? Seeing and hearing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? Public hearing is closed by a vote of 5-0.
And move that ordinance number 1166, zoning ordinance amendment regarding commercial entertainment uses have been considered by the council, be voted on for passage prior to its final adoption.
Second.
Motion is second on first reading. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? And that passes by a vote of 5-0. And you have another public hearing. Did we publish the public notice on this, Matthew?
This is published in the Des Moines Register on August 25th, 2025.
Very good. Amanda?
Yes, so we have the 2025 amendment to the Clive Urban Renewal Plan before us tonight, as well as a first consideration for the TIF ordinance that will allow for collection of those monies that are generated for the new area. The new area being established is the same as what it was previously for the 86th Street area. As you all are aware, we do not have the sunset with our urban renewal area and our TIF clauses. So we have had that area in the urban renewal area and we deleted it in order to re-add it, to restart that clock now that we have some new development taking place over there. And it had, the previous ordinance had expired. I think it was last year that we repealed it. So with that, we do have the primary reason with the update was for the TIF rebate request for the development projects. The amendment identifies both the Daner Distillery project, which has been before you and has an approved site plan at this point, and another project, Fortress Bank, that has not yet been before you, but we are currently in process for reviewing that site plan. That project would be a redevelopment of the former Car City West up at 111th and Hickman. And I would like to note that the not to exceed numbers in the amendment for the urban renewal plan amendment are not indicative of what will be the values in those individual development agreements. That is what staff estimated to be the maximum potential that would be available for TIF rebate. And that was the guidance from our bond counsel as well that we were working with for how to approach that. So those specific details and development agreements will come forward to you for separate consideration with all of the details. At this point, this is just the first step in that process of being able to offer those TIF rebate payments. There was also an adjustment to some of the costs associated with street projects to accommodate all of the bonds. So with that, staff recommends approval. We also did have the taxing entities consultation meeting. As usual, there were no attendees. And Planning and Zoning Commission did not have any comments on the plan and did recommend approval.
Very good. Any questions for Amanda?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to close the public hearing. Before we do so, is there anyone in the chamber who wishes to address the council on this matter? Seeing none, would the council please vote, and will the clerk please post that vote? And the public hearing is closed by a vote of 5-0.
Move the resolution to declare necessity and establish an urban renewal area.
Second.
Motion and second, further discussion. Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? That passes by a vote of 5-0.
Move that ordinance number 1171, having been considered by the council, be voted on for passage prior to its adoption.
Second.
Motion is second on the first consideration, further discussion. Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? That passes by a vote of 5-0. You're still there, Amanda.
Can't get rid of me. And then finally, tonight, we have the third and final consideration of the zoning ordinance amendment regarding variances that shifts to adjust for the practical difficulties change in the state legislation. There have been no public comments and no questions that have come in or changes since the second consideration. Staff would recommend approval.
Very good. Questions for Amanda?
Move that ordinance number 1165 be considered for the third time, placed upon the passage and adopted.
Second.
Motion is second for the third consideration, further discussion. Seeing none, would the council please vote, and would the clerk please post that vote? That passes by a vote of 5-0. Ordinance number 1165 is declared to have been enacted. Thank you, Amanda. Next up, we have proposed ordinance number 1167. Matthew,
Do you want me down here or up here? Up here.
you're good where you are.
These ordinances that are before you tonight, there's three of them. They came from our codifier. One of the services our codifier offers is that after every legislative session, any impacts on local code, they recommend some ordinances for us. Some of them we took on ourselves, like the fireworks and things like that, but other ones that are a little more benign, we just use their model that they gave us. So the three that are before you tonight, 1167 for liquor licensing. That just comes after If you remember back in 2020, when they changed the law that you could mix drinks and have them served to go, like cocktails. So that updates our code to match that. 1168 cigarettes and tobacco just updates our code to reflect the fact that they now take those applications electronically and not on paper. 1169, the public hearing requirements streamlines all of our requirements for publishing notice of public hearing. Previously, it was a kind of a just depending on what you're creating a notice for. It could have been 10 days or 20 days in advance. Now they're all no less than 4, no more than 20. So they're all the same. And the final one, the 1170 service animal misrepresentation. It is now a crime if you misrepresent an animal and call it a service animal to get a benefit. And the only reason we're codifying that in our code is so that if we ever do have to enforce it, we can do it at a local level and not have to go through county prosecutor.
It's actually a distinction of who gets the money from the fine. It's a misdemeanor, so we'll handle it.
Okay. So that's the difference on that one. So
All
if you have any
right.
other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions for Matthew on any of these? Otherwise, I'd suggest we,
Move that ordinance number 1167, having been considered by the council, be voted on for prior passage prior to its final adoption.
Second.
motion a second on the first reading of 1167. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? First reading passes by a vote of 5-0. Next is 1168.
Move that ordinance number 1168, having been considered by the council, be voted on for passage prior to its final adoption.
Second.
Motion is second on ordinance 1168. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote?
Should we just wait the rules on this?
That passes by a vote of 5-0. Next is 1169.
I'll move that ordinance number 1169, having been considered by the council, be voted on for passage prior to its final adoption.
Second.
Motion is second on 1169. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? And that passes by a vote of 5-0. Now 1170.
Move that ordinance number 1170, having been considered by the council, be voted on for passage prior to its final adoption.
Second.
Motion is second on 1170. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? That passes by a vote of 5-0 as well. Thank you, Matthew. Jeff, I think you're up next.
Mayor, council, good evening. We're here to talk about Alice's Road tonight. First, I want to give you a little update on the progress out there, where it stands and what the plans are. And then we'll talk about the proposed amendment, which of course is impacted by some of what's going on out there. Alice's Road, as you know, was a project we let. The original contract included design of phase 1 and conceptual design of phases 2 through 4 at that time. Since then, of course, we've taken a look at the project. As we were moving into it, we divided phase 1 up into 2 phases, 1A and 1B, and we currently have contract for phase 1A and are in progress. As you know, this year was a fairly rainy early on. We are behind. We will not get phase 1A completed this year. What we will get is whatever we've got tore out back in and the road open for the winter. So it will be open over the winter. There will be no closure. We've got to the point now where we pulled out the intersection of Horizon because they're ready to start paving. They'll start at that end and pave up to just short of Boston. And that's probably all we'll get done this year. There'll be a temporary crossover from the new pavement to the old pavement. We'll come back next year and next spring and work on Boston. And I think there's about 400 feet north of Boston up to the next intersection that starts. We'll also be in the process of bidding phase 1B at the same time and getting construction ready to go from Delwood on up to just short of Douglas. The other thing that's happened with this project as we've looked at it, I've talked a little bit about it, but want to make sure you're aware. Originally, we had some STP money, federal money in all the phases. As we got looking at that, we had to start a PEL, environmental type study. Looking into that, that was creating a lot of extra work. As we looked at that, we looked at the opportunity or had the opportunity to work with Waukee and look at the project of moving all federal funding into one phase. And in that phase, it was the only phase we needed to do the environmental study. That phase also was more conducive, and it looks like we will be able to progress without going any further. Have not got that final word yet, I don't believe. Not yet, but our hopes are high that that's where it's going to stop. So with that being said, this project, from what was conceptual look at and engineering services, there have been a lot of extras that have come up. One was splitting the two phases for 1A, 1B, twice the document production, twice the getting things put out. Some additional survey in there as we looked at the conceptual stormwater. The original was to take care of just the corridor. As we look at the regional concept, there's some other areas we think that we can do as part of the project that will provide a bigger benefit overall to just not the corridor, but the area out there in total. And by doing that, it will require some additional surveys. So there's some additional funds being requested that on the addendum. Funding, one of the things we asked them to do was to look for and identify funding opportunities for this project. We've applied for, I think, 6 different funding opportunities, and the original agreement didn't include the application process. It just helped us identify them and get us pointed in the right direction. We have asked for additional assistance on that to get some of that funding started and get that done. So there's some extra requests in there. Utility coordination, there's several things out there. Matter of fact, Mid-America has a line out there they don't have in their maps. We found it. We've had to move the joint utility trench and a few other things in there due to things that they could locate it, but they couldn't tell us ahead of time it was there. Some additional preliminary and final design, as we talked about with phase 1A, 1B. Additional right-of-way services. When we first looked at this, we talked about what we would need, but till we got further along with the conceptual design and started looking at what those opportunities are with not only the regional funding, but also with some of the opportunities in other areas with neighboring property owners. I won't say the names, but neighboring property owners that we are able to maybe look at some opportunities. We've asked them to do some extra work to help us prepare in discussions with that. Construction assistance, of course, with the project taking longer, getting divided into 2 phases. There's a little bit along that. There's also some extra funding in here for special assessments. And while some of this goes into the Waukee side, we've talked with Waukee. We know that Division 1, although it's 50-50 on the design, we will be doing some truing up like we talked about for phase 2 of that. A lot of the extra assistance came from the Waukee side. They will be paying that. We'll work that out in the end and square that up. And we also had them do a quick water supply study to make sure that the water main was putting in would be adequate size, verify. We had a good feeling it was, but before we put it in, we did have them check that and verify that. And then, of course, we talked about the PEL, Planning and Environmental Linkages study that they started when we thought this whole thing was going to have federal funding. They spent a lot of time preparing that environmental study and getting it ready. When it was able to move it, it was able to stop, and we don't look like we're going to have to go any further at this time. So that was some work they started, but again, we were able to stop, and a lot of money was spent that was not included in the original agreement. With me tonight is Nate from Snyder. With that, I'll open up to any questions and be glad to talk.
Ted?
Yeah, Ted.
So Jeff, with the delays in 1A, is there any domino impact with the follow-on phases, or is it fairly distinct?
There could be a little bit. Phase 1B is fairly short, though. Our goal is to, well, first our goal is to hope that the same contractor gets it and we can just turn them loose, but we can't control that. They'll have to look at it and bid that themselves. There's a lot less underground work in phase 2 and or the second part of phase 1. We're hoping it goes fairly quickly. We are looking at ways to minimize that, if that includes next year, having this year's contractor actually start at the north and come down to the Boston, and then having maybe the intersection be the last, so the other contractor can take off and go without any interference. We're still looking at those options and we'll continue to talk about them as we move forward. We're going to do everything we can to minimize potential delays caused by the.
Well, thank you.
Jeff, can you just walk me through a rough timeline of each one of the phases, 1A, B, 2, 3, and 4, just the years you think they'll?
We're going to go out of order because one of the things that as we've started this, we've identified is that it makes more sense to do phase 4 before phase 3, before phase 2, bring the storm water back with us. The federal funding, the way it falls out, kind of pushed phase 4 where it did. But as of right now, phase 1A would be finished in early 26, mid 26. Phase 1B would be finished by the end of 26. Phase 4 would be 2027 construction, which would include the intersection of Berkshire up to Meredith. Phase 3 would then be in 28 from the south side of Berkshire to the north side of Douglas. And then 29 would be the Douglas intersection, along with completion of the Douglas thoroughfare to 4 lanes all the way through. I think Snyder has taken a quick look at that, and they think it's pretty easy to be able to minimize the impact there, keep traffic on that for the way it is, and be able to get a lot of work done on both sides of the intersection at the same time. So phase 2, although it's a little larger, maybe it's a little more doable because of what it involves taking a 2-lane to a 4-lane.
So obviously I'm not an expert in this at all, but does it make sense to expand the roads and then do the intersection last? It would seem like we'd want to do the intersection before we expand the roads.
On which
Douglas intersection. Didn't you just say that that's the last phase?
Yes, Douglas will be the last phase.
Douglas intersection.
Douglas intersection and the completion of Douglas to the
Right, so-
east and west.
My question is, if we're expanding the roads, wouldn't it make sense to do the intersection first? Because we're gonna have a lot more traffic there.
First before,
Before we expand all the roads.
you mean talking phases 4 and 3
Yeah.
to the north?
Well, I know,
Uh,
I understand 4, because that has the federal money involved with that. So I understand the timing of that.
The other thing is the stormwater. We're going to take a lot of the stormwater to the north, which requires us to build infrastructure to pick it up. So if you start at the creek and you build the infrastructure to 2, when we get down with 2, if we haven't finished 3, there's no way to let the water go with our design for the stormwater management. So we need to complete 3 before we do 2 to handle the stormwater and keep it moving
I
down. to
guess
the
my
creek.
concern is with traffic. At that intersection, is it gonna be able to handle it without having it redone after we've already expanded the roads?
Well, it'll be 2-lane and we'll nick back down, to the 2-lane coming into the intersection. In other words, how it operates now is how it will continue to operate for the next 3 years until it's completed and under construction.
Yeah, well,
I don't know that we're
lanes.
dumping more traffic. We're providing more capacity, but the traffic may even shy away because of some of the construction. So,
Maybe. More capacity usually means more traffic, but
yeah, no, and we'll be looking at that. I mean, we're already, if you look at it to the north, we're already 4 lanes in Urbandale coming down to our section that is just a 2-lane. And we're 9 lanes to the south as you go into Waukee there at the intersection. So, this whole passage is the kind of the bottleneck for the whole corridor.
A bigger example of that, I see where Ted is coming from. A bigger example of that, I still kind of chuckle, is that the flyover in Grimes was meant to fix the traffic problem. And some said it's only going to increase the traffic problem. And they said, well, how, all this extra the traffic came with it. It's just as bad, if not worse, with that flyover than it was before the flyover, because they flood to that area now because it's supposedly easier to get around. It's backed up traffic, in my trucks are backed up by 2 hours a day because of the flyover. So, I mean, to Ted's
And
point, you're
again-
drawing people will come regardless,
Mm-hmm.
because of the 4 lanes or 6 lanes. It's not just gonna open capacity and then they don't fill it.
No, when the capacity is there, they will definitely fill. Path of least resistance will be the path they take. So.
I'm just worried it's gonna be a choke point, right? I mean, because
For-
we're expanding all the roads, north and south of it. But it's narrowed down to 2 lanes right there at the intersection, because that's the last thing we're doing. And so now we have a choke point there that's just gonna back up traffic on either side. So, I mean, again, you guys know more about this than I do, but that's just.
Well, some we'll definitely take a look at and monitor, but from the standpoint of the infrastructure, we really need to come the other direction to provide the ability to get rid of the stormwater components of it. But yeah, we'll definitely look into that more and hopefully get you a better answer.
Other questions for Jeff?
Move the resolution approving amendment 1 to Alice Road Reconstruction Project Phase 1 Professional Service Agreement to Snyder Associates for $504,900.
Second.
Motion is second on the resolution. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And would the clerk please post that vote? That passes by a vote of 5-0. Matt, public hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor. This action is to set a public hearing. We're sticking with the Alice's Road theme here for your second bond issuance of the year, the 2025B general obligation loan agreement. This is also related to the urban renewal plan changes that you just made earlier or started to make earlier in this meeting. The funding source, the proceeds that will be generated from this bond issuance will be going to the Alice's Road project. So kind of connecting all of the dots of the design, the construction, and also the funding that goes in to one of the larger street projects in the city. So with that, Your Honor, request approval to set this public hearing, and we'll have more actions to come here later in September.
Seeking a resolution here.
Move the resolution, set the date for public hearing for 9/25/2025 at 6 p.m.
Second.
Motion is second to set the public hearing. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that? That passes by a vote of 5-0. Next up, potential closed session.
Your Honor, staff would request that the council go into closed session regarding to discuss the purchase of or sale of particular real estate.
And if someone would make.
Motion to enter the closed session pursuant to Iowa Code Section 21.5.
Second.
Motion is second to go into closed session. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will clerk please post that vote? With a vote of 5-0, the council has voted to go into closed session. We'll be in closed session for a few minutes and then we'll come back.
Yep.
Like you got a rooftop.
Like to resume our city council meeting. Let the record reflect that no action was taken while we were in closed session. Anything further? Otherwise, we'll move into correspondence. Matthew.
Nothing further.
We'll start with reports on that end with you, Pete.
Thank you, Your Honor. Quick update on the self-reporting portion of the census. Two items. First, the deadline has been moved back 2 days for self-reporting. It previously was the 23rd. It's now the 25th, which is 2 weeks from today. As of 9/10 yesterday, 38% of eligible households had completed the census, which is great. We want to get to a minimum of 44.1 and would very much like to far exceed that 44.1 number. So off to a good start. 2 more weeks to go. We continue to push this very hard on our social media and other spaces. We'll probably take a shot at some earned media later on next week to keep pushing, encouraging folks to respond. Soil quality restoration program. We are into first full week and some of the SQR program. Of the 104 yards that we will treat this year, we have now touched 39 of them, which is great. With the hot weather that we're expecting, not only had today, but expecting tomorrow, that can create some issues if you're applying organic material, if you're applying compost. So we're going to go ahead and hold off on doing any more applications today and tomorrow, and then take advantage of some cooler temperatures that are coming next week. Finally, I share that next week I'm going to be presenting at the Iowa League of Cities Conference on some of the early adoption Clive has done on AI tools, including Greenie and our property tax calculator that we created for the budget storytelling. There'll also be some discussion around some of the things that we are considering on the horizon that will help with staff productivity. And we're looking forward to a very robust discussion and learning a lot from other communities. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thanks. Any questions for Pete? Brianne?
Yeah, last week, Mayor Edwards and Councilwoman Judkins and I went to the fire promotion, retirement and life-saving event presentation. It was a very full house there at Public Safety Center and great cake. Can't complain. Nothing else.
All right, thank you. Ted?
No report tonight.
Eric?
No report, Your Honor. I just wanted to mention that today is the 24th anniversary of 9/11. And I hope everyone can remember our fallen comrades, the largest attack on the United States 24 years ago. I'd also like to point out with the assassination yesterday of a political figure, the dangers of political extremism on both the national front and also the dangers of political partisanship on a local level here in Clive too. We are a nonpartisan organization. We've worked very well. And we hope to keep partisan politics out of a nonpartisan organization like the city of Clive. That's all, Your Honor.
All right, Susan?
No report this evening, Your Honor.
Mike?
No report.
Anything legal?
Just an introduction, if you haven't met Lisa Whelan from the Nyemaster firm, our assistant city attorney is present tonight. If anyone has any questions for Ms. Whelan, thank you.
Matt?
Your Honor, just a few items to update the council on. Next week, we will have staff starting to move out of the lower level area. The community development staff and the administrative services team will be moving over to the Harbox Center starting the beginning of next week. A few of us, Pete, myself, Molly, and Corey Phillips will still be in this building. We'll actually be moving up to some of the offices here, just on the other side of this wall. So we will maintain a presence in this building. So we'll have a lot of things happening next week. Of course, following your next council meeting, as was approved earlier tonight, we will have the driveway reconstruction happening, which will result in the library being closed for that week because we will not be able to get people into the property. We will still have staff in the building. We will be parking across the street and accessing the building that way. So a lot of things are happening, and we'll get started on the construction here of phase 2 at the end of the month. With the demolition. So you'll start to see a lot of activity happening on the site. Next week, in addition, as Pete mentioned, his presentation at the league conference, I also will be a part of a panel at the end, towards the end of the conference on Friday morning, when the league presents their legislative priorities. I've been asked to speak to the property tax and TIF reform item in terms of cities continuing to have a proactive posture on presenting reform ideas, modeling reform ideas to present to our partners at the Iowa legislature. And they've asked me to speak on that as the co-chair of the Iowa City County Managers Legislative Affairs Committee. Also next week, I think a few of us will be attending the Greater Des Moines Partnership Regional Summit on Wednesday. Well, where there'll be some similar topics potentially discussed and other items for the region. Also want to mention your last strategic planning workshop will be on Saturday morning this week here in the council chambers. So appreciate that. And we'll also be touching base as a staff tomorrow on finalizing some of those items. Lastly, I will include this in my weekly update to you all tomorrow. We have secured time and location for when the Greenbelt Landing Public Art, the artist from Toronto who's doing the major installation at Greenbelt Landing will be here at the end of the month on September 30th. We will have a reception at Cooper's Hawk for the artist, Group Creative, who is facilitating this project with us. Our contract is actually with Group Creative as a local art, basically contractor consultant. Is hosting the reception. We'll be inviting a number of folks. The council will obviously get an invite, but we'll be also inviting other funders of that public art piece, including Bravo and Icon, as well as NCMIC and their team, because they're all contributing towards this very large and substantial public art project for Clive. So it'll be great to have the artist here. We're also going to be he's going to be visiting the site, starting to line up some subcontractors for the items that are kind of on his to-do list related to the installation, and also working with Pete and Molly to do some media, some videos that we can use to promote the public art project. So I will have more details on that for you very soon. But that's all I have, Your Honor, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Matt? Any other items for the good of the order this evening? Seeing none, we'll adjourn at 7:20.